now tuned in to the cold, hard truth. Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Good morning. Hello, everyone.
Do they know it's Christmas? Band-Aid on 106.1 KISS FM. Christmas music brought to you by CG Britk. They're like no traffic at 5 p.m., Aaron. They're good like that.
Yes.
And Christmas music continues all the way through the end of the year, all the way up to Christmas Eve.
Well, it's just for the rest of the year. That's what I've been saying. Christmas music for the rest of the year.
All right, it is 7:30 right now.
Big news. I have some important news for you. Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy.
Hello. Good morning, Blake and Aaron.
How you doing? It's been a while.
I know. How was your vacay?
It was good. I mean, a lot of it was working.
Mm-hmm.
And then this week I had some time off, which was super nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watched you a couple of mornings.
Lot to chat about always, you know.
What's headlines this morning on a Friday?
Headlines today. Well, that's a good question. And we have a court-related headline, which I know Aaron and I were talking a little bit about yesterday. And so, Aaron, you'll remember that one case that I mentioned.
Yes, of course.
And he has been found guilty.
Really?
Now, who's this?
This was he's a former teacher and videographer and marketing person at UCCI.
Oh,
Freddie
I read that story on your Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it comes along the same as that Josh Duggar, that 40,000 and counting kid who should have been locked away a long time ago after what he did to his sisters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So both came out on the same day, which is kind of ironic because we posted the Duggar story like earlier in the day, and then by after 4:00 the local jury was back in the Freddie Diaz case. So in case your listeners are not aware, he is found guilty of 2 counts of child pornography related charges.
And what sentence does that bring? Like, is that?
Well,
is that
the judge actually remanded him to custody immediately.
Okay.
And said that he's looking at a very serious sentence with the upward limit
10 years.
Of like she said 10.
Yeah.
So I was like,
wow.
So
well, listen, it's disgusting. That whole
yeah.
I don't even want to I just can't even think about it. It makes me sick to my stomach. Anything involving any of that. And so, it's nice when people get caught.
Yeah, absolutely. And Clifton Hunter High School is in the news for some good positive CXE examination results.
Really?
So yes, they ranked in the top regional school in electronic data preparation management and physics.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, they attained 12 out of 15 top regional positions.
Congratulations.
For the EDPM and the top rank for physics in the 2020 CSEC exam. So good job to all of those students.
Awesome.
Yep. And
great news.
Dr. Wildman said that 70% of the graduating class has attained at least a level 2 pass in the CXE examinations, which I guess is a good thing. I'm not very familiar with that.
I don't know. If they say it's a good thing, they know more. So
yes. All these CXEs and CSECs and all this stuff. I'm like, okay.
that first story reminded me of. Do you remember that chiropractor that got done for
that
filming?
Was not that, because that was not
him and the other guy from UCCI. I don't know what it is about UCCI, but
you know what though? That guy, that chiropractor, used to be our neighbor. I would see him all
I
the
know
time.
People that used to go to him.
Yes,
anyway,
exactly.
we don't need to get into all this. This is
and
it's the holidays.
you know what's interesting is I worked at, my business was in that plaza, and I would see him every single day walking from his car, because he'd always park on the side right by my windows. And I'd see him walking from his car to his office, and everybody looks like a normal person until you hear what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the cutest little dogs, because he'd bring his dogs to work sometimes. I thought,
no, he didn't. They were terrors. They would always bark. That was the.
Oh, really?
That was the problem between us and them. Is that
they were cute looking, but
they were little terrors. They would always bark and try to bite Harley when he was out in the yard trying to do his business.
Oh, really?
And then
even dogs aren't what they see.
No, then he goes, so he's like, hey, just take your hose and spray my dogs so they stop. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. So every time they were.
Don't.
So then.
I think in extreme cases, that's exactly what you have to do.
Yeah. So then he popped through the bush one day and was like, hey, I need to stop spraying my dogs. They keep coming back inside soaking wet. But he would always pop through the bushes with his shirt off. And I always thought that was weird. Like the guy never had his shirt on.
Okay.
So it's just kind of strange. Anyway.
Pops through the bushes is what I would start with.
Yeah, I mean, he completely, these people ruin their lives in an amazing way. We're going to get into some of the details today. And yesterday morning, we had a body right after the show washed ashore. Now you guys still remember that on Monday was quite a busy day. Like in the middle of the show, we were getting all these breaking things. We unfortunately had a suicide. We had a drug bust in East End. So that drug bust in East End, there were 3 persons on the vessel. 2 were apprehended, and the other one decided that he was going to jump in the ocean, I guess, and
do what?
And swim and try to
get
away.
He can't swim. That was the worst part, is he can't even swim. Like, you don't jump in the ocean if you can't swim. So unfortunately, his body was recovered yesterday, washed up in the East End.
Well, that's
So,
sad.
I was kind of thinking about that, and I thought to myself, give me my chances in jail if I'm that stupid to involve myself in drug smuggling or drug running or whatever. Because, Northwood is not a bad jail as jails go. I mean, you're going to get 3 square meals a day for sure. Probably snacks in between. You can probably get your teeth fixed. You get good dental at the HSA.
Sounds wonderful.
What time's playtime?
Yeah.
You're gonna get yourself an education. They
There's
treat
cell
them
phones
relatively
there.
humanely. So
There's cell phones there. You can.
We've heard of stories of conjugal visits. I'm like, how bad
Yes.
can it be? I mean,
if you're married,
it's better to be alive and in jail. I thought yesterday than
I would think so.
I don't know. I think that it's just.
Or even if you go to jail, I mean, they may have just deported them back to their country. Who knows?
Yeah. No, they'll serve jail time before deportation.
Would they?
And then they'll be. I mean, you can't put yourself in the mind of certain people, and
I know it's
and
it's
in their
impossible,
situations.
actually.
And their situations, like where they are, how they grew up, and how they're trying to just survive in general.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
We can all throw
it's a whole-
stones.
Don't do drugs, kids, and don't smuggle drugs.
Yeah, exactly. It never ends well. It's like a 2-path: jail, dead.
Yeah.
So a St. Lucian physician named Dr. Gilbertha St. Rose has been suspended by their medical and dental council there in St. Lucia after prescribing ivermectin to treat COVID-19 patients.
A dentist?
She's a doctor. She's a integrated health specialist.
Okay.
Well, people prescribe ivermectin all the time for humans, not the animal drug version.
If you get worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no apparently, you don't have authorization to prescribe it for the treatment of COVID-19 patients.
Well, because it's not
what she was doing. And so their Ministry of Health and Chief Medical Officer basically said, no, this isn't.
You know what I learned about this whole ivermectin thing?
Mm-hmm.
First off, how to say ivermectin. Second, the thing that I've learned, the second someone says something stupid is going to treat someone, and then other people start talking about it, buy stocks in that drug.
Yeah. Good idea.
If I would have bought stocks in ivermectin, I'd be rich right now because everyone's using it.
Did you?
No, I should have though. This is like I should have bought stocks in
when
Charmin
you do that-
toilet paper.
Yeah. And Kirkland paper towels.
Kirkland paper. Okay, sponsor.
Yeah.
Unauthorized sponsor.
Yeah.
Foster's turkey dinners.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I don't know, but she's been suspended for 6 months, and she's got to pay a $10,000 fine in their currency.
Ooh.
And it's not clear yet if she's going to appeal the decision. The decision actually came down on Tuesday. And for the record, the CARPA, which is the Caribbean Public Health Agency, the World Health Organization, and the FDA, none of them have recommended ivermectin for use for the treatment of COVID-19. In fact, they have said that it's very, very dangerous. And there are people who are overdosing and probably kill themselves with ivermectin. So
Ridiculous.
Not recommended at all.
Ridiculous. I got my booster, so
Aaron got a booster last night.
So
I've got my booster.
How are you feeling?
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie and say I feel fantastic. But it is what it is. I'm just a little fatigued, and it feels like my head's floating.
You know what I've noticed though, because I haven't been I've been off on vacation, is the numbers have come down.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, we were like in the 60s,
but
right?
that was
60.
always what it's going to be. It's,
right.
You know,
I knew we would mid-December,
we
were going to peak. And so now they've started to come down.
Yeah. So it's better. So hopefully it kind of stays down then after Christmas. Like we can get like a little Christmas reprieve or something.
So yesterday's numbers were 45. The day before it was 70, I think. So yeah. I mean, these are the peaks and valleys literally of the COVID pandemic. So
well, we have a high vaccination percentage, and that's part of why we're seeing those numbers come down now.
Absolutely. Yep. Still at 79% with 2 doses. So hopefully by the new year, we'll get to 80. That golden number.
Good.
Yeah. But you know what? The booster shot's easy. Get in, go do it. If you haven't done it yet, seriously.
Yeah. If you're over 30 now, you can get the booster shot.
And I think Commander Bay.
No. It's open to everyone.
Everyone now.
Right? Everyone.
And they're saying within 3 months now too, right?
Yes. So they adjusted it, recommendation 3 months. instead of the 6 months. So,
But I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Sandy,
All
we'll
good.
catch you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Sounds wonderful. Anything special going on this weekend?
What do we have going on?
Anything on the KISS calendar or anything else?
Let me
I
look
think
at my
people are just
calendar.
doing
we're broadcasting live tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
That's
Aaron and
gonna
I
be
are
a
out
lot of fun.
broadcasting live. We're going to be
Yeah.
at the Paddle Wheel Adventures.
I'm
Okay.
really excited to see this place. It's
in the Grove.
Yeah, it's in the Grove. So I'm really excited to see this. I love cool adventure places. Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
not
so
heard of this place, so that's
Well,
interesting. All right.
We'll be there tomorrow.
Oh, by the way, big shout out to
12 to 2.
everyone who participated in the tourism job fair yesterday at the Westin.
Mhm.
Well attended. I went by twice and live streamed on both occasions, and it was fantastic. I mean, a lot
Was
of
it
people
packed?
came out, and I heard people were getting hired on the spot, which is what I
Good.
really wanted to hear. So
Good.
good results, and we'll do some follow up with them in a couple weeks to see, kind of how that's going. But yeah, that was good. One of more to come.
Awesome.
And we've got some special projects here in CMR, which we can't talk about yet, but lots of exciting things going into 2022. I know I'm so excited.
Awesome.
And
Well, have a
radio
great
soon
weekend.
come, I'm hoping.
Come by and see us tomorrow, 12 to 2. We're going to be at the Paddle Wheel Adventures. That's in the Grove, that new site. What do you call it? Shopping area?
The Grove.
I don't know where it is. Where is it?
The Grove. It's over on West Bay Road, and it's it's kind of like it's a really nice little shopping
past
center.
Governor Square.
Yeah, it's past Governor Square. It's right off. You'll see it right before. What is that? That big watermark or whatever? It's that.
Yeah,
it's right.
that.
It's right before that. It's kind
Is
of.
it a new one?
Yes.
It's very There's like some apartments that people can that are condos that are
It's
renting
like a
out.
mini Camana Bay.
Yeah, it's cute, and they're still working on it. And let's see here, Iberico is in there, and then so
Dr. Rebecca's in there.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think sometimes I pass these plazas and it's like they're being built, but you're not paying attention to how close they are to being completed.
Totally.
So,
but that's the thing. It's another place to shop local. Paddle Wheel Adventures. Like you don't even,
They've got bikes. They've got they sell kayaks. They repair bikes. You can rent bikes.
Stuff to do.
Rentals, tours, all kinds of stuff. So check them out. We'll be there tomorrow, 12 to 2. As a matter of fact, we're going to go today and see them.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll be out and about doing a little bit of shopping today. So if people see me, I'm going to put on my Santa hat.
Okay.
Stay 6 feet away.
Yes.
Anyway, well,
guys, have a good.
We'll see you on Monday.
Have fun shopping.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right, folks. That's Blake and Aaron. Blake is back in the studio with Aaron. I'm sure she's happy because I think when he's there, he gets to do the board. So she's like, "Yay, Blake! Welcome back." Marshall, good morning. Good morning to Christine. Olivia's here. Kay, good morning. By the way, Kristen, happy birthday. I know I've just totally mispronounced your name. Happy birthday. I know this is your birthday week, you and your twinsy. Good morning to Olivia. Kay, Jonathan has got it locked. Larry's here. Wee Wee's here. Larry says, good morning, Blake and Aaron. How about some John Lennon? Happy Christmas. Did he do a Christmas song? Miss Joy joining us from Richmond, Texas. A lovely 78 degrees, high of 85. What is the temperature in Cayman? We've got a little temperature thing up on our website. It says 82 degrees with light rain. Do I see light rain in the forecast when I look out the window? I feel like oftentimes that's the best way to tell what's really going on. Light rain. Not so sure about the light rain part, but we're going to check that out. Let me see what let's see what the weather people say. Did we get a weather report this morning? I don't see one. Interesting. No weather report. So we'll have to have a look at that. Okay, yes. Weather, 6:13 a.m. Forecast today, partly cloudy skies. Yes, becoming cloudy at times with a 40% chance of showers through the early afternoon. Oh my gosh. Becoming fair skies thereafter. Temperatures will rise to the mid 80s. Okay. Winds will be east to northeast at 15 to 20 knots, and seas rough with waves of 4 to 6 feet. Ooh. So that means there's a small craft warning. Should exercise caution, I should say, over open waters. Do you guys think that any of the drug runners actually look at the weather reports before they decide to go out there and put their lives at risk? We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but we're going to get into the whole Freddie Diaz situation. Good morning to Irvelyn. Thank you so much. Season's greetings. Good morning, Nelvia. Diamond Princess has got it locked. Chantel, good morning. Miss Sue is here. Felicia's here. Tisha is also here. Good morning to you, lovely. Mitzi and Larry says it's 43 degrees in Nueva York and cloudy there. All right. So let's get into the conversations this morning. I want to talk about a little bit about the tourism job fair, but we have got to kick off today's discussion with the verdict yesterday in the Freddie Diaz trial. And I actually want to break it down for you guys. And I have my notes, which are on the laptop. So I'm going to go get the laptop because I want to show you guys. I want to make sure I'm going through everything. Sometimes I jot down little notes of stuff that I want to talk about in relation to the case. And then the vast majority of it is obviously for, reporting purposes. Because trust me, sometimes you just forget. So let us pull up a quick commercial. I'll run and grab my laptop, and then we can get into the nitty gritty details of what transpired. You guys don't want to miss this. It's kind of disturbing, actually, but we need to know what's lurking right in their homes, really.
Ho, ho, ho! I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Don't make it a blue Christmas by delaying on ordering your propane for that Cayman beef and turkey. Be like the 3 wise men who rode through the night and prepare for the 12 days of Christmas. Hark! Propane makes all the herald angels sing. Feliz Navidad! Contact Home Gas early for your Christmas propane order at 949-7474.
Christmas time is about family, caroling, church services, and dirty dishes, cleaning floors, and power washing your house. Don't let the ghost of Christmas chores make you a Scrooge. Call Reliable Industries today for all of your house cleaning needs. Our professional services are perfect for Christmas time to let you forget the hassle of housework and focus on the important things, spending quality time with your family. Reliable Industries offers an array of gold standard residential home services, including professional house cleaning, window washing, pressure washing, HEPA filter cleaning, professional kitchen hood cleaning services, and more. A happy home is a healthy home, and there's no time like the holiday season to make your home the happiest. Don't forget that Reliable offers gift certificates and gift baskets for your loved ones. Call Reliable Industries today at 949-9303 to speak to a customer service rep to book your services. Reliable, serving the community for over 30 years with quality and pride.
All right, folks, welcome back. Thank you so much. So I had to grab my little laptop because I had some notations on it, and I don't want to miss anything. Trust me, neither do you. So let me bring this up here. See what we got on the laptop today. All right. So Freddie Diaz, 33 years old. I suppose some of you know him. And in fact, I had some of his classmates reach out to me yesterday and said, wow, they were so surprised when they heard the allegations against him, because they thought, when you're in, I guess you're in a year group together, you always say to yourself, what are the chances of this person becoming the class clown, or this person, how you vote? I don't know if you guys do that here in Cayman, but we did in the States. You vote most likely to succeed, most likely to, I don't think they had a criminal category, but maybe some schools, most likely be convicted of murder, most likely to be, to win the lottery, most likely to be a millionaire. You have all these kind of, normally they keep it light and fun. So I'm sure schools don't have criminal categories, right? But you know what I mean. You kind of look at someone as a young person and you think to yourself, oh, this person has their entire future ahead of them. Here's Freddie when he was much younger in school. My gosh, look at how old those computers are. That's back in the day when the computers were old. And you look at this kid and you think, oh man, he's a nice kid. Probably came from a decent home. I don't know if it was a 1-parent, 2-parent, whatever. And you don't look at a kid like Freddie and think to yourself, oh, this kid is going to end up going to jail for child pornography. The point being, folks, that you can't look at someone and tell what kind of person they are, especially when it relates to this type of thing. And this is a really serious conversation, I understand, right? I think that, it's one of those things where you should not judge a book by its cover. There's no other way really to say it than that. And that's one of the dangers of trying to think people or understand, this entire area. So we were talking about, what's his name? The Duggar kid yesterday as well. He also, his conviction came down yesterday. He was found guilty of the same thing, of child pornography. It was so incredibly interesting. And people think, oh, right, this reality TV guy, Josh Duggar, comes from a good family. Christians, they're always in church every single time the church door opens. You think, well, if you live in church, you must be living a halfway decent life. I mean, you're not going to be perfect, but certainly you're not into child porn, right? The two do not have anything to do with each other. Alice is back. Good morning, Alice. You guys remember Alice had surgery yesterday and it looks like all went well. Alice, we were praying for you. And thank you so much for acknowledging that you're feeling okay. So, at the end of the day, this is the sort of thing, folks, where you just never know. And I've thought about this so many times, because sometimes I sit there and I watch these cases and I see family members being distraught by, and really destroyed by, the actions of one person in the family. So Freddie has destroyed his family. Let us make no qualms about that. He has purposely destroyed his family. Now, how much thought he gave into it during the 7 months that he was looking at kiddie porn, only God knows. I don't know how much people think about the consequences of their actions. But we're going to go through some of the things that were divulged during the somebody said they're not finding it on YouTube. Didn't I just send you the links? I thought I did. Hold on one second. Somebody said that they hold on. So I know a lot of people are messaging me and they're causing my brain to pause. So listen, folks. First point is, you cannot judge anybody and think that you know them when it comes to child abuse, child pornography, or probably many criminal activities. You just do not know. We always use the sort of Ted Bundy, example. Ted Bundy was a good-looking guy, really nice to people, I guess, that he liked, and yet he had this duplicity about him where he was also a serial killer, and where he would literally strangle you to death, and he would con you into thinking that he needed medical assistance in order to get you in his car so that you could be victim number 10 or whatever number that he went up to. So, at the end of the day, folks, this is an incredibly sad situation. Freddie has, destroyed his entire family, and the lives of many, many people will be changed. I'm shocked at some of what came out as a result of this trial. So let's break it down. Freddie was accused of and now convicted of 2 counts of child-related pornography charges. The first one is he was actually convicted of possession of child pornography. Now, remember, these are separate individual charges, right? And then the second one was accessing child porn. And the reason why they had to charge him, they're very specific sort of offenses. And what Freddie was doing is he was at times downloading images. So there were numerous images on the account. And at other times he was just viewing it, right? So he'd go on a website, whatever. And it's amazing that there's this type of information out there in the atmosphere at all. I mean, it's just, I find it shocking, but there's a whole underbelly of people around the world who this is what they do. They view child porn. They are obviously engaging in it. And here's the thing. You cannot think that someone would be finding child pornography sexually gratifying and interesting and not see the next logical step of how that progresses. And when the story first broke and he was arrested and we heard all that, I thought to myself, the first thing that came to my mind is, oh my God, does this guy have a family and does he have kids? And of course, we discovered that he had two very, very young children. So I want you guys to understand what he was doing. So he was doing things like using the dark web, which I don't really know a lot about the dark web, except that it is a way for people to try to disguise their activity. And so they hide behind different things, in an attempt to mask who they are, because anything you do on the internet can be traced back to your IP address. So every single computer and every computer, obviously, or device that's accessing the internet has a unique IP address. And it also has a unique, what's called a MAC address a lot of times as well, right? And so, these guys do their best to never be found because they know this is criminal. This is illegal. And so he knew that himself because he was deleting stuff. They could show where he was deleting stuff. And here's a word to the stupid. I'm not going to say a word to the wise because you're not wise if you're into child porn. Here's a word to the stupid. If you are accessing stuff like child porn, you think, oh, I'll just delete it. Anybody worth a grain of salt in terms of an IT security person can easily, even if you delete something, it can be undeleted and it can be accessed. There's very little that you can do. And I don't want to get too technical with you guys because I'm not a security expert, but I do know a little bit about some of this stuff. There's very little that you can do, folks, to not have you leave breadcrumbs no matter what you do. So you think that you're deleting an image, you're deleting files and whatever, and they can be recovered and things can be restored. And so you will be caught is the bottom line here, I think, folks. So Freddie had been deleting some stuff, and I'm going to tell you some of what his defense was as well, because he really thought people are stupid. And I'm so thankful to this jury, because there was a point in time when I thought, will this jury be hoodwinked? By the way, it was 3 women and 4 men. I thought, will this jury be hoodwinked into what his defense was saying? Now, I cannot imagine being a defense attorney and defending these types of clients. I would never work a day in my life if my life depended on it. I just couldn't do it. On the same hand, I spoke to Mr. Myers, Keith Myers, and he said, everybody's entitled to defense. What if he wasn't guilty? Okay. Theoretically, I understand the necessity for every single person to have a defense. Yes, I think it is important for people to have a defense. Because, like myself, I've been accused of stuff and I've not done it. And I'm sure there are people out there who thought, oh yeah, well, Sandy definitely did that, until the facts actually come out. And I think you need a good lawyer to bring out these facts, because sometimes the prosecution is just, they will paint a picture that if you didn't know, you'd be like, whoa, yeah, she did this, or he did this. And it just isn't the case. So everybody's entitled to defense, but this man's defense wasn't making no damn sense from the jump off. Right. So let me explain to you what his defense was, and then we'll go through some of the details. So his defense, 2 things. he essentially was trying to establish. So the prosecution laid out their case. They go first. And one of the witnesses that I saw in person, because I wasn't there, I think the very first day that started, these trials will take all week, right? So the very first day I missed part of the prosecution case, and then I came in. They had a Mr. Watson who showed up, and he is a ethical hacker and like a cyber expert and whatever, right? So for the past 4 years, he has worked on some of the most, what's the term I'm looking for? Some of the most egregious and serious cyber crimes in the UK, and now the RCAPS has him at their disposal, which I thought was actually quite good. And so he laid out his expertise, if you will. I don't think technically they called him an expert witness, but he's as close as you can get. And then he talked about how like what he found on the computer and so on, and how they discovered these images. Some were on an external hard drive that was plugged in and connected to the computer, and some were actually on the computer itself. So his first potential defense, which I think fell apart pretty quickly, is that his attorney was asking, and you can tell by the line of questions where someone is trying to go in. So his attorney was asking this Mr. Watson, I think his name was Watson guy, what is it possible that somebody was hacking into his computer? So at some level, Freddie was always blaming somebody else. He is not taking any responsibility. And I'm going to tell you, that will not help him in his case at all when it comes to sentencing, because the court does not like to see people who are unapologetic, who refuse to take any accountability, because the chances of them reoffending when they have that mindset is probably pretty high. And I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit, right? So Freddie is living in a world of his own. And his lawyer was asking questions again. I guess Freddie told him that maybe somebody was hacking into my computer because I didn't do it. So he's asking, did you check to see if somebody hacked into the computer? And the guy said, well, I wasn't asked to check for that. So obviously he had a specific remit in terms of what the police were asking him to do. So he wasn't asked to see if somebody hacked into the computer. However, he did look at certain protocols on the computer. And the term really isn't hacking. It's like remote access, right? So it is possible for you to remotely access another PC, but you have to do so with permissions from that other user. So I do it all the time because my husband has set up where I can remote access. So say, for example, my laptop, I can actually remote access into my desktop at home. So if I'm on the road and there's certain files, although I keep some things in a cloud-based system, there might be other reasons why I need to physically access my computer. Like I like to keep all my emails. It depends on what type of email you have. So if you have a POP account, this is kind of getting a little bit technical, but I like to keep emails sort of in a central location for purposes of just like, I can come and check and I haven't missed anything. And, also like QuickBooks, like I have QuickBooks on my central PC, and I don't like to have it like all over the place because then the file can get a bit confused, So I keep it on one machine. So if I wanted to do something related to QuickBooks, I'd have to remotely log in to specifically look at QuickBooks, and then I can log out. Even some of my clients, we have a remote access facility, and I can't just remote access into their computer or systems without their knowledge. They expressly, every single occasion, have to give permission. So I'll say, because sometimes they're like, yeah, just go fix it. And I said, no, that's not how this works. I need you physically to stand there, right? Send me the code because it's a unique code. When you send me the code, I'm going to type that into my computer. Then up on your screen, it's going to say this other machine is trying to access your system. Do you wish to allow it or not? And you have a choice to say yes or no. So it's not something where people can just be like hacking into your computer through these back-end portals and you not know. They would have to have had access to the physical computer that they're trying to get into to give the relevant permissions to do so. So anyway, that was one line of questions. I thought, here we go. So Mr. Watson said that there had been no usage of that remote access protocol on that machine. So you can do it by third-party applications, as well as you can use what's called remote desktop connection from the PC itself. Now, as someone who's a little bit knowledgeable with technology, sometimes I sit in court and I hear lawyers who obviously have no understanding of technology at all. And they're trying to make these arguments, they themselves not understanding the technology. They're also then presenting it to a pool of jurors who themselves don't understand the technology, right? So that becomes extremely interesting, because it is possible that you could put forward this notion out there that, oh yeah, his computer was hacked into. The defense doesn't have to prove a case, right? Remember that Freddie and every other defendant is innocent until the prosecution proves their case. So in theory, a defense does not even have to defend it, does not even have to say anything. He doesn't have to testify. He doesn't have to put on a defense, nothing. He could just sit there, and the burden to prove the case is on the prosecution. Now, if the prosecution's case is pretty strong, as a defense, you're probably sitting there going, oh, you better explain some of this, because this is going to be a slam dunk if you don't. And that is why defendants take the stand. Not that they have to, or they have to prove anything. It's that they're trying to answer some questions that they would know in a very logical way would be lingering in the minds of the jurors. And this was a jury trial. So, folks, this was one of those situations where Freddie decided to take the stand. So I thought that that line of questioning about someone remotely accessing his computer was done away with, was dispersed with very, very quickly. Because when he asked, Mr. Watson this question, he was like, no, there's no evidence of it. And there would be evidence of a history of remote access. And there was none of that. There was no software that was allowing remote access. And if you're looking at the remote desktop connection that you can do on any PC, again, that requires, you setting up certain protocols, and there was none of that had ever been done. There was no history of it, blah, blah, blah. So there was this idea that some random person could have logged into Freddie's computer. That just wasn't flying, none at all. So it looks like, even based on when Freddie took the stand, they kind of abandoned that line of questioning after the computer expert said no. And he established his credentials, right? Which is, I like that he said, listen, I have been working in the UK now for 4 years as an ethical hacker. And I have, in his words, exact words, were investigating some of the most serious cyber crimes in the United Kingdom for the past 4 years. And a certified ethical hacker, he explained what that is. And that's not someone who goes around hacking into people's stuff. That's someone who knows how to do it so that they can then see the trails of people who are actually doing it. So he would pick up on if someone was hacking into your computer, into government systems and that sort of thing, right? So they played Freddie's police interview, and he had two interviews, which is not uncommon, right? So sometimes they'll interview you at like the initial arrest, which he was arrested, I think, February the 24th or 25th. And then they will go and do another interview to kind of firm up any additional questions and whatever that they've had after they have reviewed some of the alleged evidence that they think they have on you, right? So Freddie did something which is called a no comment interview. What that means is every single question that they put to you, you say no comment, no comment, no comment. Now, as someone who has been interviewed a couple times by the police, I know that some lawyers will advise their clients, and this was his excuse, some lawyers will just say, don't answer any of their questions. The problem with that, and any of you out there who are criminals will want to hear this very, very carefully. Even the Tortuga robbery case, she also gave a no comment interview, and eventually it comes back to bite you in the rear end, right? Because the problem is, many years ago, Keyman introduced something called a negative inference, right? What that means in layman's terms is if you have an opportunity, especially at the police interview stage, to give an alibi or to say this is what happened or whatever, and you do not say it, so you insist on saying no comment, or you just don't say anything at all, right? Or you tell some other story. If you don't say it, and you get to court and then you jump up and you're like, oh, I've got a defense, which is exactly what Freddie did, exactly what the Tortuga robber did. And remember, her day of reckoning has not yet come. So we'll wait until January for that. But all of those things, the juror or the judge, because sometimes it's a judge alone trial who's presiding, they are allowed to take a negative inference from the fact that you did that. So in other words, it works against you. So they're able to say, why would you, when you had the opportunity to fully explain all of this, police officers are asking you, why wouldn't you just do it? I'm going to give you all an example. One of the times, and sometimes, they'll come at you years later and you can't remember certain things. If you can't remember something, you just need to say, I don't know, or I can't remember, right? I remember one of my police interviews. This was the nation building case, which, by the way, all these cases got thrown out. There was no full trial. They all got thrown out at the earliest. No case to answer stage, right? I remember a detective saying to me, this was when I was offering a paralegal course. The government had paid for some people to attend. And then they came back all this time later claiming one pile of BS. I had given them certificates and sent a very detailed email, which in the case, they never produced that email. Thank God I was able to find that email and give that email to my defense, because that's how I won the case, because I had documentary evidence to say I told government this. And that in that time, having said what I said in that email, proved that I had been telling the truth the entire time, like 100%. And it was government who was getting it wrong and then tried to throw me under the bus with criminal charges, which is a really serious thing, right? That's why I say, you got to sometimes get yourself a really good lawyer. So I remember during the police interview, the detective said to me, oh, well, you gave so-and-so a completion certificate and whatever. And that particular individual, I knew, now I couldn't necessarily remember every single person, but I knew for that person that was not correct. The reason I knew that is because there were about 3 or 4 individuals, I remember 3 very distinctly, who applied for the sponsorship. And they did not get it because they were senior members of government. So the premier's office at the time, which was Premier Bush, said, hold on a second. One person was like head of department. One was a senior HR manager in government. And this other person was a deputy in one of the departments, right? So they said, no, this is designed to help people who couldn't afford to do the course. These individuals, regardless of whatever their finances may be, should be able to afford to do it because they're making a decent salary from government. They're mid to upper management, right? So they were removed from the list. So when the detective said to me that one of those individuals had received a certificate, right? Because the issue had been that I had completed the certificates in advance and was holding them. And then when people would complete it, then I would give them their certificate. Government kept harassing me for these completion certificates, although I told them that the course hadn't even finished yet. This was the email that I'm talking about, this long explanatory email. And they kept coming back, oh, we need a certificate. I was like, y'all dumb. I'm like, seriously, what is wrong with you people? Very, very disorganized with the Nation Building Fund. And then they try to throw somebody who's actually trying to do their job under the bus. So anyway, I digress. So when the detective said that to me, I said, what? I said, no. There would have never even been a certificate prepared for him because he was never approved to do the course. So the certificates were prepared in advance, but they were prepared after people began the course. You know what I'm saying? So I knew exactly who was in the course. So I said, that can't be right. I said, show me the certificate. This is me and the police now, right? I said to the detective, I said, oh, you say that you have the certificate? Really? Show it to me. Oh, well, Miss Sandra, we have so many bundles of evidence here. I can't find it. I said, no, Bobo. You think I'm stupid. This is where y'all insult me. You can't find it because it doesn't exist. And you just lied to my face. And you know how much I love a liar, especially a detective lying to me, thinking that he's going to be tripping me up. I said, you see, when you tell the truth, you're not going to worry about being tripped up. I said, with all due respect, detective, you just lied to me and I want to see the certificate. Oh, no, he can't produce that certificate because it never existed. From then, they should have dropped the case knowing that they were going to lose it. But anyway, so listen, the point being is that during a police interview, you have an opportunity. And the interview is being recorded. audio and visual. They put it in a little CD. Your attorney will get a copy and they will keep a copy. They will play your interview during a trial. And if you're sitting there saying no comment, no comment, no comment, even the jury is going to be like, why wouldn't you just answer the question? Let me give you some examples. Buenos dias, Alba. Good morning, Andrea. Diania. Is that how you pronounce it? Marie. Buenos dias. Marshall says it's sad to think that someone who has children of their own would engage in that sort of behavior. They just need to be sent away for a long time and get whatever help is available. Not sure how much it would help, but just get it. So Tracy, we're not talking about the job fair. We're talking about this case. So we've seen your messages, but we're focused on this case at the moment. So we're trying to do one topic at a time. Yes? All right. So he was answering no comment interviews for the most simple things. Do you live at such and such an address? No comment. Is the lease in your name? No comment. Do you own a computer? No comment. Do you work at UCCI? No comment. What do you do at UCCI? No comment. Do you have children? No comment. The one question that I remember him, I think I only saw one of the two interviews, but the one question that he didn't answer is they asked him if he was a Caymanian. And to that, he said yes. I was like, why didn't you just say no comment? If it was a true no comment interview. So there were a few select things that he actually answered that were a bit bizarre, because then they asked him after that, well, how did you acquire your Caymanian status? Is it through marriage? Is it through no comment? I'm like, dude, you just said you're a Caymanian. What difference is it? You know what I mean? It was just really weird. The fact that he was saying no comment to all this stuff. It was a little bit stupid, to be quite frank and honest. So let me refer back to my notes here. I'm going to pull up the computer, right? So basically he refused to answer questions about the house, the lease, who lives there. So this becomes important because guess what? Later on in his defense, he's trying to throw other people on the bus and blame other people for potentially, hacking in or going and using his computer. And I want to talk about that line of defense because it is incredibly unusual to say that anybody would come to your house and decide to access child porn from your computer at the rate at which this was happening. What a hot mess. Big shout out to our corporate sponsors. We want to give some recognition to all of them. Home Gas, Premier Access on Wednesdays. We didn't do this Wednesday, but hopefully he's going to be coming up soon. And of course, we've got Aeropost. We have Miracle Brokers. Thank you guys so much. Recover Cayman. And let's just take a quick commercial break. But you guys want to hear some of the details of what the police officers had to say to him.
Give your family the gift of Roque. Looking for the perfect gift idea for the entire family? Then look no further than Roque, Cayman's #1 streaming experts. Confused by VPNs, Amazon Prime, Netflix geolocking, UK channels disappearing, where to find your favorite events, and so much more? Roque takes the guesswork out of the world of streaming, doing the hard work for you. Give them a call today and see why Roque is Cayman's most knowledgeable and customer-focused streaming support company. 345-926-1213. That's 345-926-1213. Call them today and give the gift that the whole family will enjoy, including you. Tis the season for big deals at Small Deals Outlet. Visit us for the latest gadgets, small electronics, phone cases, cables, and so much more. Small Deals Outlet specializes in all 2021 trending stocking stuffers like portable Wi-Fi routers, office desks and chairs, straightening hairbrushes, earbuds, and charging cables. Visit us today in the Thompson Building or conveniently order online at smalldealsoutlet.com and have it delivered to you. Tis the season for big deals at Small Deals Outlet. Call 746-7054 for more info.
Ho, ho, ho! I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Don't make it a blue Christmas by delaying on ordering your propane for that Cayman beef and turkey. Be like the 3 wise men who rode through the night and prepare for the 12 days of Christmas. Hark! Propane makes all the herald angels sing. Feliz Navidad! Contact Home Gas early for your Christmas propane order at 949-7474.
All right, folks. So they even asked him, who's your wife? Is your wife Anne Marie? No comment. Do you have any children? No comment. They put to him, you have a 3-year-old and a 2-month-old. At the time of his arrest, he had a 2-month-old child. And literally, like that night into the morning, he was there looking at kiddie porn. Ew. Disgusting. 2 young children. So they say, who else had access to that address? No comment. Ask him about his belongings. No comment. Did anybody have a key? No comment. No comment to everything. Are you a Caymanian by birth? No comment. So then they ask him this question. And they say, listen, these are some very serious allegations against you, right? That you've been arrested for. Are you a danger or a risk to your own children? Are your children at risk? He says, no comment. Listen to me. I was sitting there watching this, shaking my head, like, what the hell? If your defense is going to be that you didn't do it, right? And I guess maybe he hadn't worked his brain around that part yet. By the second interview, you should kind of know what your defense is going to be, but I guess he hadn't really thought too hard about it. If that is going to be your defense, some of these questions you should have been able to answer. But regardless of what you're accused of doing, if somebody says to you, are you a danger to your own children? Don't you think you would say, absolutely not? I mean, I'm not a pedophile, so I guess I don't understand how they think. But I'm confused by this because I'm so flabbergasted by the concept that someone would be asked that question and then have the nerve to calmly say no comment. I would be like, of course I'm not going to hurt my own children. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? No, I'm not a danger to them, unless you really are a danger to them. And you can't answer it in the affirmative because then maybe you'd be looking at some other charges. I don't know. But I mean, they can't charge you for thinking something, right? They can only charge you for what you've actually done. So I was taken aback by the no comment response to that particular question because I thought to myself, wow, that's the kind of thing that you really want to say that, you definitely wouldn't do. Very, very strange. So then he takes the stand. So the prosecution wraps up their case. They didn't do a no case submission because they knew that obviously there was a lot of thing here. So they had that much sense. During the interview, what else came out is that there's different categories of porn in terms of, how severe it is. So let's say that you're looking at pornography of a 16-year-old. That's different than looking at pornography of a 6-month-old child. And it takes a special kind of person to want to be looking at pornography of babies and young children. So during the interview, there was a UK female detective and then a male detective jump in and probed him for more questions. Freddie, is there anything you want to say to explain this? Help us help you. Is there some explanation? No comment, no comment, no comment. Okay. So apparently Freddie was searching his computer. There's 401 keyword searches for some term that I've never heard in my life, some PTHC or something. I don't know. It stands for preteen something something. Now listen, some of the language was very blunt because this is what he was sitting there Googling. I don't want to say the A word, but the behind, right? He put that word in for babies. babies crying from that type of sex. These are the things that this sick individual was actually searching for. I think it's important for you to understand how disturbing that was. There were times when I was listening to his police interview and I'm hearing them put this stuff to him that I felt physically sick. Like I felt like if I'd eaten that morning, if I had had breakfast that morning, I probably would have threw up in the courthouse. So it's probably a good thing that I didn't eat. I was just like, who does this? Who searches for that? Who finds this as a turn on or interesting, and to think that they would actually sit there and watch it is so incredibly disturbing. So there was a slight amendment to the indictment in terms of dates, right? Because he was at it for like 7 months hard. And so there was some speculation that maybe he was actually doing this at a time when, his wife would have been, at least partially pregnant, I guess 7 months. Yeah. She has a 2-month-old or whatever baby. Maybe he wasn't getting sexually gratified, but that still doesn't make any sense. He says that he looked at other porn. He admitted that he looked at other porn and they said, well, how often? He's like, oh, maybe once or twice a week or whatever. Yes, honey child. Nothing wrong with normal porn. Can I just tell you that? I'm not someone who will tell you don't look at pornography. I'm like, listen, I think anything can be an addiction, including porn and sex and liquor and alcohol, whatever. If you don't have some people just like to watch other people, right? And sometimes that's how people get excited to then do and try out new things with their own partners. Whatever. I don't care about you watching regular adult consenting porn, right? But there's certain things that really do cross the line, and child pornography beyond crosses the line. So yes, honey child, he was there looking up all this disgusting stuff. Now, 2 categories of offense. There's a category A. I think there's a category B and C. But category A is the more serious offenses. So he had multiple images, 2 images that fell into the category A. So they were very, very serious because those are the ones with the babies, with the young children. And they had the experts talk about how they know, how they can guesstimate the age of the children. They can't say exactly without obviously identifying the child. And so what this means is there are people out there, and I want to make this very clear, who are creating this child pornography, which means they are abusing people's children, abusing babies. And I can tell you that unfortunately in my lifetime, I've had the displeasure of seeing a video that was on Facebook, and I was so shocked. I reported it to the police immediately, and then they'd asked me to actually put it on CD because there's a chain of how evidence is collected, and I had to get it to them. It didn't look like it was a child in Cayman. It was somewhere, God knows where. And this baby was being raped by an adult male, and it was so disgusting. I mean, literally, like I said, right now, I feel like I want to puke. This is what would have been turning Freddie on. This is the kind of shit that he was watching. Not even, this is not entertainment, right? So category A is the more serious images and movies and whatever that he was into. C, still serious enough, still child pornography, but might have been a child that was a little bit older, because sometimes he was searching like a 12-year-old, 8-year-old, like he was putting in all these key search words, right? Really disgusting. So he takes the stand on, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday. When did he take the stand? Might have been, yesterday was Thursday. I think on Wednesday he took the stand. No, Tuesday. Yeah. So he takes the stand, and this is his testimony. Now, y'all have got to listen to me. He says through his lawyer's questions that his house was a very busy house. People were always going and coming. He was always having parties. I mean, he made it sound like he had a revolving door. Like every single day you got 20 people coming through your house. And I thought to myself, is that how y'all live? Like, I'm curious. I don't know. That's not how I am as an individual. And then maybe I'm not the most social person in the world, really. But I don't trust people to be coming inside my house like that. Listen, I don't even really want people to know where I live, if truth be known. If you have been inside of my house, you've either been a service person, like you fixed an AC, or I had a guy who fixed my sheetrock this week, or you should consider yourself a pretty good friend. There's an odd occasion. Some people are like, oh, I'll come and meet you at your house. No, honey child, you're not meeting me at my house. Oh, I want to talk to you about something. Can I come to your house? No, you're not coming to my house. We can meet at the coffee shop. We can meet at some neutral place, whatever. I don't let people into my space like that. So I found this and I thought maybe this is just me. I found this so weird. Who allows all these people into their homes? But he made it sound like it was just a regular party. He's like, oh, we were always having parties, but this is now him trying to set up his potential alibi, right? So yeah, I've always got people inside and outside my house. And I was like, that's interesting. Because if I were a prosecutor, the first question I would come at, so Freddie, in your examination in chief, you said that it was a revolving party door. People always inside and out of your house. So you actually expect us to believe that in those circumstances where people are always coming and going, someone would have the opportunity to sit down there in a living room, because the computer was in the living room, and look at child porn, and all these people coming and going, and they're not afraid that somebody's going to see them. So you see where his testimony didn't even make any sense? I'm like, dude, you are stupid. But anyway, this was his testimony. He said that they were busy with parties and people in and out. People were allowed to use his computer, and he had the Wi-Fi password that everybody could use. Oh, honey child. Let me give you all a word of advice. Apart from what Freddie was doing, which is a bunch of foolishness and a bunch of lies, there's certain things that you don't allow people to be having access to. Your home computer is probably one of them. Even your home Wi-Fi. We have an open Wi-Fi network for guests, and that has security protocols and limitations on it. The rest of the network you ain't getting access to. My husband's an IT man, so he knows how to set up low security. My computer, you want to use my computer for what? Use your damn phone. Go use a public computer at the library. There would be very few people, again, like I would let very few people in my house. There'd be very few people who could have access to my computer. Case in point, a couple nights ago, Kevin, my friend Kevin, comes over. Kevin, I don't know. Kevin never seems to have a computer. I'm like, dude, just buy a freaking computer. Right? Oh, my stuff is so outdated, whatever. So he needed to do something with his CNB registration and login. Sandy, can I just do it on the iPad? And I said, well, I don't know if it'll work on the iPad. Just use my desktop. We have multiple computers in our household. We're a multiple computer household. And poor Kevin, not really incredibly tech savvy. So I knew I'd have to help him anyway. So I came and I sat down with him at the computer. I'm like, here's where you need to go, whatever. I'm keeping an eye on the brother. He's not going to be sitting here looking at no porn on my computer. And good point that an astute listener, this is the point I'm going to get to, says, when was the last time you went to somebody's house and used their computer for 7 hours? Please, I don't even use my own computer for 7 hours. And definitely not to be looking at no porn or child porn. So his entire story was like, really? You want people to believe that? So he says that that was part of his alibi then, as people were going and coming, right? And people had free access to his computer. And so they said, really? Well, who are you talking about? And the prosecution said, name the individuals who had access to computer. And child, if you were Freddie's friend or his brother, this was the day you probably needed to end the relationship with him. Freddie kept saying, my brother, my younger brother. What was his name? Was it Carlos or something? I don't know. His younger brother. Oh, he's always over at my house. My mother was there. Sometimes she'd sleep over with her then husband. The two of them since split up. They probably split up over this, is what I was thinking. Who else was at your house, Freddie? Well, I've got a friend named Warren Cayasso. I don't know who the hell Warren Cayasso is, but Warren, scratch Freddie off of your friendship list, because Freddie is not a friend. He named you in court. You and your girlfriend named Lily something. I don't know if she's your girlfriend or your wife, but I'm going to talk about his wife's testimony here in a second. Lilja Williams and Warren Cayasso, you were named multiple times as people who came over to their house and had access to their computer. So he didn't ever specifically said that you did it, but the implication is all of these people were over at my house. They're possible suspects. Y'all need to go talk to them, because he says it isn't me. It's like, whoa. Who the hell is Warren Cayasso? And why didn't you mention all these people? This is what the prosecution said. Why didn't you mention all these people during your police interview? Oh, because my lawyer said to answer no comment. Well, regardless of what your lawyer told you, if you actually thought, right, honestly, if you actually thought that someone was coming into your house and committing such an offense, wouldn't you want for them to be caught, prosecuted, and thrown under the jail? Well, most reasonable people be like, yes. And not just the police interview, the prosecution made the point. Well, even after the police no comment interview, say later on you thought about it and you're like, you know what? I really think it was Warren, because when I look at these dates and times, like he was always there at that date and time, maybe it was him. That's a serious crime. Wouldn't you go report it to the police? I'm going to tell you what his wife said in relation to that question, because she needs to have her head checked. She needs professional help. So he's like, no, I'm not saying that they did it. One day his brother actually showed up on Wednesday to court. Hearing his older brother say, my brother was always at my house using my computer. I was like, during the lunch break, I'm sorry, but I would have been charged with assault. Because I would have smacked him down right up in that courthouse. What are you doing implying me? I ain't got nothing to do with your sick fetish, unless he did. I mean, I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? The dude was just throwing everybody else under the bus. His sister. Well, my sister and her boyfriend used to come over to my house. Really? Your own sister? You want us to believe? I mean, I don't know who the boyfriend is, but you want us to believe that your own sister might have been at your house looking at kiddie porn? Because you see, at some point, it doesn't add up. First of all, I don't know, like I said, who Warren is, but how many times did Warren go over to his house? And how many times would Warren have been at his house at the time that the porn was actually being accessed? Was Warren there at midnight? And the prosecution is putting the questions to him. Okay, on this date, was your brother there at 12:15? Was he there at 8 o'clock in the morning when you got on early in the morning before going to work and started looking at kiddie porn? Oh, I don't remember. I don't know. That was a long time ago. And then he started to get a little testy with the prosecution. I said, oh, buddy, that's not going to work well in your favor. Testy because you know you a liar. All right. At one point, he's like, well, I don't know that. And the judge was like, just answer the question. You don't need to volunteer any additional information. If you don't know something, you don't know something. Don't volunteer anything additional, and don't try to get feisty. Just answer the question. But you see, that's when he was feeling a little bit of pressure from the prosecution, because the prosecutor, I must say, this is the first time I've seen this lady. Her name is Fiona Thomas. She was actually pretty good. Relatively new to the DPP's office, but she did a good job. So then he talked about another excuse that he used that was very, very interesting. So like I said, he's Googling. He actually looked up one of the keywords was male 5-year-old, and then the A word and foot job. I don't even know what a foot job is. I don't want to know. Then he put in 12-year-old A word penetration. They were looking at the time of the download. So then his lawyer starts asking him about this concept of him bulk downloading stuff. So this is what he claims. Now, this is where he was really pushing the limit with his stupidity, right? So he said he admits to using torrent sites, and he again admitted to adult porn. And he says, yes, he would use torrent sites like download files and, maybe like stuff for work or whatever, files, like whatever. And these torrent sites, when you go and download something, it'll do a bulk download of like 500 other files. And he doesn't know what's in the other files. So his other defense was this bulk download was happening from these sites like BitTorrent and whatever. I don't know what's out there in this day and age. But it was downloading all this stuff that he had no idea about. And I'm like, no, please, jury, don't believe that BS. It's been a minute since I've downloaded anything like that, but I got to tell you the truth. When I used to do it, I used to download movies and stuff back in the day, right? I recall you having to specify the exact file that you wanted. And if anybody of you still, doing the download business, you can tell me. You had to specify the exact file that you wanted, plus the seed or the source of the file. So here's an example, right? Say I wanted to download Merry Christmas and K-Man movie, okay? When you go into your torrent apps or sites or whatever, it'll show you that this is available from 5 users right now, okay? And they'll allow you to download, because that's how file sharing works. You share your files, they share theirs. There's a back and forth. And from the 5, some people might be, their download is a higher quality. It might be that this one is moving faster than the other one. You have to specify which of those you actually want. You're not just clicking on a file and somebody's going to send you 500 files. That doesn't make any sense. That's not how it works. You wouldn't even have the bandwidth capacity for that to happen. And secondly, that would be a humongous security risk. Nobody in their right mind selects one file and expects to get 500 files. Now, one of the dangers of these types of downloads is that one file can be a virus, right? It can say that it's my Christmas movie and it turns out to be something else. But it's not a situation where they're going to find all this porn content on my computer because I was searching for a Christmas movie. That's not how it works. So I thought this is where his lawyer clearly doesn't understand these types of systems. And so he's able to put forward these questions as though this would make any sense. But I was also a little bit worried because I thought to myself, maybe the jury doesn't understand this either. Because I could see the judge, like she didn't know what Shazam is or whatever the heck he was using. So even to her, she's like, I don't know how this works, but this is his part of his defense. That he was bulk downloading stuff and it just, all this child porn just inadvertently was showing up in his computer. Well, that doesn't explain the fact that you were actually keyword searching, key logging for very specific things. So that can't really, when you really break it down, that can't be a possibility now, can it? The defense was, see, Aliano says, if you're torrent loading, it's very specific what you're looking for, and you get what you're looking for in most instances, right? Now, like I said, it's possible that it could be mislabeled, and then when you watch it, it's something else. That can happen. And that's why you should be very, very careful about using these types of things. But the concept of bulk loading is just like bulk downloading is just not true at all. That's not how this works. Darlene says a real no explanation creep. Yes, with his no comments. Andrew says he could have just watched Pornhub. Well, he was watching other types of porn, but what he's into probably isn't legal in Pornhub because I'm sure they have control. I mean, I've never been on Pornhub, so I don't know. But I'm sure that they have controls on Pornhub, and there's certain things that they do not allow. Right? So another comment here in WhatsApp says, or you delete it if it's not what you want, not store it on an external hard drive. Good point. Absolutely. And you wouldn't sit there watching it either if that's not what you downloaded. So it was really like his explanations after the fact made absolutely no sense. I'm like, a bulk download. And then the prosecution said, all right, let's go with this bulk download concept for a second. Did you ever see any of these files? Like you see these names of this stuff showing up and they actually had the list, child, the printout going through the names. No, I never saw it because you don't see files on your computer. Like that doesn't make any sense. You would know, where's it being downloaded to? Huh? Say what? It was really, really bizarre because let me tell you something. Not to say that something couldn't inadvertently get downloaded on your computer. But for me, even when I go looking for files, and just as an example, right? I go to the quick access. That's what comes up first. And not to put y'all in my business too much, but I'm going to show you an example of why this sort of thing doesn't make any sense. And of course, if you don't use a computer and you show up to court, you might have believed Freddie. I don't know. But look at this. You can't really see the names of my files, right? But this is where it goes to quick access. This shows me all of the stuff, frequent folders. So my pictures, my documents, I got stock photos, my advertising folder, all my stuff here. And then these are actual recent files. These are the 20 recent files. You're not going to porn up in here, right? So here's this folder. This is a client video, photos. Like it tells you what it is. Gift certificate video. I had to sign an NDA for a new project I'm working on. I won't tell y'all what it is because I signed an NDA, but here's the NDA. It's a PDF file. So I see these are all the images. I got some December images. I was sending screenshots to a client. These are the last 20 things that have shown up in my recent files, right? So when you come here, your computer shows you this stuff. When you start looking for stuff, and listen, Freddie was a videographer, folks. He was in the business of constantly on his computer, saving files, pulling files down, rendering his videos, the whole nine works. Because remember, he worked at UCCI, doing marketing and whatever for them. He ran UCCI TV. So for him to claim that all this stuff, 500 files over 7 months, were just being downloaded in his computer and he never saw it is impossible. Let me just put it that way, right? Even my cloud backup, it will say every time a file is synced, it'll say this file has been synced. So like this morning, 5 minutes ago, it backed up one of my calendar apps that I use saying, hey, this file was edited 5 minutes ago and it was backed up. Eddie's a liar. That's the only explanation for all this stuff. Now, let's talk about and by the way, a lot of it was happening in the early morning hours, right? And it's really sick what he was looking for. So he started to get a little bit combative. Oh, many friends came and went and used his computer, blah, blah, blah. And the prosecution put to him, would you agree that someone looking at this material would pose a risk to children? It's a good question. And he said, yes. So why would you allow any of those people who you claim could have been doing this around your children? Well, I don't think that this is where he kind of started to get tripped up a little bit. Well, I don't think that any of them are capable of doing this, that they were doing it. So if they're not capable of doing it, then who was doing it? Because you just said it wasn't you. So if it's not you, then who would it have been? Because see, now they're pressing him to say that you've got friends that are capable of this, and you still allow them in and out of your house and around your children? Like, they actually said, did you start telling any of your friends not to come over? Even after you were arrested, were they still coming over? Were they still sleeping over? The plot thickens and the excuses start to fall apart. Anyway, hours and hours on the computer looking at child porn. So then his wife decides to take the stand. My God. Now, I understand the necessity to perhaps be a supportive spouse up to a point. When it comes to abuse of children, child abuse, child porn, child sexual abuse, believe me when I tell you that is where the brick would definitely stop. The tire would stop on the road. Skirks! I would pump the brakes really hard. I'm no longer a supportive wife, a supportive spouse, and I don't care what anybody thinks. There's a moral compass that I think we would all expect people that were in a relationship to share and to have. And if I had a spouse that was engaged in that kind of behavior and it came to my attention, the police wouldn't have to come looking for him. They would be called. You better come pick him up. His wife, Anne Marie, decides that she's going to take the stand in his defense. He's the only person who did so. Not even his brother, not even his mommy, the wife. She lives in the household. She's a program director at the Family Resource Center of all places. And I think the Family Resource Center would probably want to get her psychological help and probably move her out of that area, put her somewhere else. Because to think that she's doing, somebody sent me an image yesterday of where she's offering counseling services and stuff like that to people at the Family Resource Center. Ooh. Yeah, that's probably not the place for her to be. When I saw that yesterday, I was like, ooh, she's doing what? offering counseling. Somebody sent me a screenshot. I don't even know where it is now. But anyway, yeah, she's like offering counseling. I said, no, son. That's not the right profession for her to be in right now, given the circumstances that she's in. And the fact that she basically defended her husband. So she got on the stand and they said, the defense, she's a defense witness. What kind of person is your husband? Oh, he's a wonderful man. He's a wonderful father. He's an upstanding person. All these great things about him. Mm-hmm. He's very caring and thoughtful and yada, yada, yada. Okay. Is he really? Yes. All right. Then the prosecution has a go at her. She also said that there were a lot of people coming inside and out of their house, and there were people sleeping over. And at one point, they had people during COVID, like sometimes people didn't want to drive to East End, so they would sleep over by them. And, there were other times when her mother would come over with her boyfriend and they would sleep over. And it was just everybody was sleeping over at their house. Like, really, this is one big sleepover. And she was asked to name names as well. And she mentioned Warren Kayasa. And the prosecution said, did you talk to your husband about this case? And she said, yes. And what was the conversation? What were you guys saying? Well, this has obviously been a very tough time. And, I'm very upset by this. And our family's going through a tough time, blah, blah, blah. And, we've discussed the case. Mm-hmm. Have you discussed who might have done this? Did you ask your husband if he did it? Yeah, well, he didn't do it. Okay. Well, if he didn't do it, surely your mind has been put to the fact that who did? Because there's no question that this stuff was on the computer. That wasn't really a debate. It was there. So who do you think did it? I don't know. We had people over. Then they mentioned this poor Warren Kayasa again. I'm like, Warren, like I said, I don't know who you are, honey child, but what a mess. So, okay. So you think Warren did it? What's Warren's wife or girlfriend's name? Lysia Williams. They were coming over. They were helping to, babysit my kids, and, families were, she said something about family members falling in hard times and coming over to her house as a result of that. Okay. And so you think somebody else, one of these other people that I don't know. Okay. She was very, she kept looking at Freddie, by the way, which I thought was interesting, because at one point the prosecution says, don't look at him. Look at the jury. You're speaking to the jury or the judge. That's who you should be looking at. And I thought to myself, this feels a little bit like collusion, because their stories were so incredibly similar that I fancied the two of them sat down with an excuse of what really happened. This is plausible. And so I can't imagine that as a wife, you didn't ask your husband these tough questions as soon as he got arrested. She said something that I found was very, very peculiar. And this is probably why she shouldn't be in the job that she's in, to be quite frank. Not that I'm trying to make the woman unemployed. I'm just saying move her somebody else. So she says that this has been an emotional time, and I've not wanted to keep all of the information inside, because the prosecution put a question to her about, did your husband tell you the types of images? Because she didn't come during the rest of the trial, she just showed up for her testimony, and then she was there yesterday. So she didn't hear his police interview. And this is interesting, because I thought she should have showed up, because she needed a dose of some cold, hard truth reality. So she should have showed up and heard the entire case against her husband. She didn't do that. She showed up to testify, which I guess because she was a witness, to be fair, she couldn't do that, because then that's not permitted, right? But she basically showed up to testify and then showed up yesterday for the verdict. Have you ever seen your husband's police interview, child? Because your husband's a liar. Prosecution says, did he tell you what was on the computer? That somebody was looking for babies, sex with babies and this and that, hurting a baby sexually. I didn't want to, this has been very traumatic for me. I didn't want to keep certain things in my head. So I thought, what kind of answer is that? He either told you or he didn't tell you. And if he told you, you're saying now that you've blocked it out because it's traumatic for you. Imagine the poor children, you woman. And people like your husband is encouraging that industry by downloading and supporting those downloads. That's how they fuel that industry. If they didn't have sickos wanting to engage in that activity and look at this stuff, I guess there wouldn't be a market for it. So you're traumatized. You're the one who's had a rough time. I was sitting there thinking to myself, oh, right. Cry me a river. Really? But your husband's such an upstanding man. You've had a rough time. He's put you in this position, but he is so upstanding and so wonderful and such a great father. I was like, oh, honey, something wrong with you. It takes a special kind of person to support a spouse that has been accused of those things, and you can't make a determination on your own. And she admitted, yes, the two of them will look at porn, whatever, her husband more than her. And they said, well, how much porn was he looking at? Oh, a couple times a week. Like she was aware he was looking at it, no big deal, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So who do you think was at your house at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, looking at porn? Oh, but I'm a light sleeper. Freddie suffers from depression. That's another excuse that's coming at sentencing. And he takes medication, but I'm a really light sleeper. And so every single time that Freddie would have gotten up, I would know. Okay. And if you're such a light sleeper, if there were other people in your house outside in the living room, accessing your computer, looking at porn in the middle of the night for 7 hours, the computer blue screen light is on, blah, 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 that wouldn't have woken you up either? Because she kept saying, I'm a light sleeper. I'm a very, very light sleeper. I'm a light sleeper. I would know if Freddie gets up. I thought about this. I thought, well, I'm a light sleeper too. I'm a poor sleeper. I don't consider being a light sleeper. I'm just a poor sleeper. So there's a lot of stuff that wakes me up. But you better believe there will be times when undoubtedly I'm in a deep sleep, the little hour of deep sleep I'm going to get. And nothing's going to wake me up, including somebody getting out of bed. Y'all listen to me. This is one of the reasons why I do not allow people into my house. You are not sleeping into my house. You're not going to sleep into my house with children in my house and me going, oh yeah, my child is over there the same side with all the guest rooms and you're sleeping next door to my child and I'm in the master over there. No. Because I don't know what you wake up in the middle of the night and doing. And I have a child that I need to be thinking about and protecting at all costs. You see, this is the stupidity I think that parents engage in. Oh, I'm going to have a brother sleepover and this person sleepover. That's opportunities for something to be going down and you don't have a clue because you're sleeping. What I'm telling you is trust nobody, and I don't care who they are. Do not allow sleepovers between children because I don't want to be responsible for somebody else's child. There are times that make them sleep at their own yard, be with their own family. I don't believe in sleepovers one bit. And I don't think adults should be having sleepovers either. Now, of course, I'm a college student, university student. We go camping. We do all sorts of stuff. That's a very, very different situation. Right? I think when you have a child in your house, you need to be very, very cautious of who you are trusting with your children, especially to say someone is going to be sleeping overnight. I don't believe in that. That would be an immensely short list. And that, to be honest, that would be me going, you know what? I'm going to go tonight and sleep in the bed with my daughter. I'm just not a trusting person. And this is a perfect case of why you do not trust people. So she finds out that this allegation is there against her husband, and she, is supportive of the husband, testifies in his behalf on his behalf, claiming he's such an upstanding person and he would have never done anything like this. Well, the jury did not agree. And, sometimes you can tell where a jury's going to go with a situation. And I must say that I felt like this jury was going to convict him, because I was reading the body language of the jurors, and I could see from quite early on that so somebody says, sad that his wife works with the Family Resource Center and works with a lot of kids. She also worked with the Wellness Center where young people are assessed. This is so scary and completely unacceptable. So, folks, yeah. The wife, just really buckled down. But I was looking at the body language of the jurors, and I thought to myself, they're going to convict him. I didn't feel like they were ever buying it. Even during his cross-examination, I saw some of the female jurors in particular looking at him like, their body language said it all. We don't believe you. We don't believe you. And so I never thought for a minute that he had a chance. But then with jury trials, you never know. They shock you. Remember the taxi cab alleged rapist? That was a shock for me. But apparently his attorney did a good job of trying to undermine the alleged victim. So the judge gave her instructions. They were out for about an hour and a half, I think. I was able to run to West Bay, do the live stream in West Bay, grab a quick bite at the coffee shop and run back just in time for them to be called back in. And guilty on both counts. Now, when they said guilty on both counts, listen to me. I like I said, I've not ever gotten to that stage with a full trial, but I've been at the point where my first dog trial, like the first time I was in court, I was very, very emotional. And I think it's because it involved a dog, and you guys know me and dogs. I just love me a dog and animals and whatever. And I'd never been through anything like that before, so I can understand how even going through the process of being accused of something, being arrested, taken to court, like it is very traumatic, especially when you didn't do anything wrong, right? It can be very, very traumatic. And so that was acting magistrate John Furness, because nobody else wanted to take the case, right? He threw it out. He's like, this is the biggest waste of court time and money and police energy that I've ever seen. He threw the case out. And I remember when he threw it out, I think Denny Warren Jr. was there, and Wendy Ledger from CNS. I literally broke down in tears. It was very emotional for me, because again, I wasn't used to the criminal justice system. At that point, I wasn't going to court and listening to cases or anything else. And I was just like, it was a sense of relief, but also I was thinking about this poor dog, believe it or not, and the life that this dog is going to have, because he actually said that, he's just going to return the dog to the owner. And I was like, that poor dog is doomed. And I literally just broke down like in real tears. Like it was like, you would have thought somebody died. For his part, yesterday, he didn't show any emotions. He was very stoic, and he just sat there with his mask on in the little defendant box or whatever. His wife didn't show any emotions until the judge said, you are a risk to, now that you've been convicted, because of course his attorney's like, oh yeah, let's keep him on bail. Apparently he'd been on bail all this time, and had not, they still had his passport, but of course, he's not a flight risk. He's a Caymanian. He doesn't have anywhere to go. These are the traditional arguments that attorneys put forward for their clients. And, this, not the next thing. And so the prosecution said, well, he's now convicted. This is a material change in his circumstances. So he has been convicted, and he posed a risk to, and I never understood I guess because you're innocent until proven guilty, all this time he's been in a house with his children. The wife claims that, oh, well, nobody's around her children. She's always watching them 24/7. No, you're not. No parent can watch a child 24/7 because you wouldn't be able to work. You wouldn't be able to sleep. You wouldn't be able to do anything. Oh, I'm always watching my kids when people are around was one of the responses she gave on cross-examination to the prosecution, why she didn't have to worry about child predators coming in her house because she's always watching people around her children. What? You wouldn't want a child predator whether you had 50 eyes because they will find a way. So I thought, woman, you're crazy. And so, of course, the defense said, yes, well, he could have supervised access to the children from your wife who just defended you and who doesn't believe you did anything wrong. Surely there are times that she's got to go to the freaking grocery store and she's not going to take 2 young children with her at every turn. She might say, honey, you stay home with the kids. Now you're a child porn convict. You've been convicted. So I was kind of looking at the judge thinking, is she going to allow him to continue to be on bail? And she was like, she's taking her notes. Her name is, she's from Jamaica's Court of Appeal, Bishop. Oh gosh, what's her name? Bishop something or another. But anyway, she was, she's like, she does this very interesting. She says, yes. And she's writing and listening to yes. But she's not giving anything away in her yes, right? And so then she rendered her decision and she said, Mr. Diaz, you've now been convicted by a jury. They found you guilty of 2 very serious offenses. And you, in fact, are looking at a lengthy sentence of upwards of 10 years, possibly. You are a danger, not only to the children, I guess, in that video, but you are a danger to all children. Her exact quote was, this is a very serious offense of possession of child pornography. And the court is particularly concerned with the age of the children portrayed in those images. And then she went on to say that you are a danger to all children, including your own, basically. And it was at the point that she said, this is you're looking at a lengthy sentence of upwards of 10 years. That, and I don't think it's going to be 10 years. I'll tell you why here in a second. But that the wife started to cry. It finally sunk in that he is going to jail. I was like, well, thank God some reality is setting in with her because I don't know if she's really living in the real world. So anyway, the judge said, you're remanded to custody. Take him downstairs. Go into jail. And he will be sentenced around February the 18th. His lawyer requested a social inquiry report. Now, he claims that he's got mental health issues and he takes medication for depression as though that makes you molest people's children or look at porn. But anyway, the judge said, are there any other reports that you're going to need? Because, sometimes these reports take a really long time. She had to wait over a year for a mental health report, which was kind of crazy to think that over a year. But anyway, he said no, at this stage, just the regular social inquiry report would be fine. And so this is now where they'll come and they'll talk about, oh, Freddie had a rough life and he was abused and he was this and he was that and all the excuses in the world for Freddie. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Wow. Prosecution said there were grave concerns that his own children were still in the household with him, especially given their young age and what he's into, obviously. Yes, I hear fire trucks. Thank you so much, Joshua. We just got some sort of alert that there is something going on at CUC. Emergency services and CUC sirens are going off. I don't know what that is yet, but we're on it. Somebody else said these are types of people I'd like to accept. Pretty on the outside, but problematic on the inside. What a mess. So Freddie is in jail now. I thought about it and I said, you wish that you could lock these people up forever. Clearly, he needs some psychological help as well as a good sentence. I think it should be a 10-year sentence, to be honest. And now you realize the implications. I'm sure his wife was thinking this. Wow, he's now gone to jail. She's become a single parent overnight. Boom, just like that. I don't know if she had made any plan B contingencies. But now she's got 2 children that have lost their father because of his own stupidity and because of his own actions. And if you take a 2-month-old, say he gets convicted to 6 years and he serves 60% of that. What is that? A little bit over 3 years. You're still going to have a child by the time the father returns home who's going to be like, who is he? That 2-month-old doesn't know who he is. Even a 3-year-old will soon forget him. I don't know if she's going to be taking him to prison to visit their dad. I hope not. But, where are they going to put him? Which cell are they going to put him in? Because normally prisoners don't take too kindly to people like him. Although Cayman's a bit special because we seem to welcome everybody with open arms in prison. Like I said, they get treated pretty good up there, even by their own inmates. Maybe they'll put him in a cell with Jeffrey Barnes, another sexual predator with some serious issues. 2 of them might get on quite well. Jalissa says, and this is why sleepovers will be a no thank you. Never know who will be watching and checking in on your baby's child. Believe me, do not ever do it. My daughter watches TV, so sometimes like the little shows she watches, let's have a sleepover. And so probably about last year, she started mentioning this term sleepover, and I said, don't even ask. I said, Mommy does not believe in sleepovers. Never, 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 never. Nope, 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 don't ask. You guys know my husband's from Jamaica. He's a Jamaican. And so I know a lot of parents here who are married to Jamaicans. They've got Jamaican in-laws and whatever. Family, sometimes straight up cousins, whatever in Jamaica. And they'll be like, oh yeah, let's send your kid to Jamaica for the summer. Let's send to Granny for the summer. Me? No, Dee Dee. Not me. Doesn't mean I don't trust Granny. I trust Granny. It's other people around Granny that are not to be trusted. And at some point, Granny's up in age. She got to sleep. She got to take a break. Your child run around the country, run up and down the bushes. You don't know what's going on. No. I will be there. Oh, we're taking a trip to Jamaica? Good. Let me book the ticket for all 3 of us. We're all going together. And I'm going to be with my daughter like a hawk. Oh, you want to take out shopping? Not without me. I'm coming too. Right here. Thank you, Louis says, great show. I know this was a tough one. This is why CMR is number 1. Sex registries needed. Hallelujah. We need it, folks. There will be a protective order in place, which is one of the things that when we were pushing for the sex registry that we said needed to be done. So it's like they're doing it in piecemeal. So they now have in law the ability to have these protective orders in place that will say things like he can't be around. Because even on bail, he couldn't be around any child younger than 16 that was not a family member, but still. I'm like, family counts too, But obviously because they knew he had nowhere else to go, I guess, living in the household. But yeah, we've got to really tighten up our laws and regulations around the place, folks, and putting orders in place that will protect children. Like he should never be on a campus with, young kids. I told you guys that here in CMR, we had heard that there were some allegations of him like sexually harassing students at UCCI. Now, UCCI claimed he wasn't teaching, but yet he was on the schedule for 4 classes for 2020. So I don't know what to believe, except I think UCCI's former president, who's now left the jurisdiction, was being less than honest. Why would he be on the schedule if he wasn't teaching? I'm just saying. Amy says it doesn't take a special person to take the stand in defense of someone you committed your life to. Each person has a right to take the stand and give a defense. Sandy talking about the woman like she, the one that did something. So first, Sandy accuses them of lying. Well, I think the jury has decided he did lie. when they say it wasn't him, and then says, this is why I don't let people sleep over my house. So you believe them or not? I don't believe them. But I'm also, Amy, addressing the point of I found it very peculiar that according to them, every Tom, Dick, and Harry was able to walk through their house and sleep over. Just as a good word of advice, you do not do that with your children when you have young children in the house, or any children in the house, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't believe her and I don't believe him. Let me make it very crystal clear in case you missed it, Amy. I don't believe either one of them. She's supposed to be a sensible woman, and there was nothing in his testimony. And again, she would have had to put some questions to him, I'm sure of that. And there was absolutely nothing in his testimony that was believable. So I don't believe him and I don't believe her. And I don't think that she does not know or accept at some level that her husband did not do this. Right? Now, that has nothing to do with recommending you also not engage in sleepovers. That's a level of protection that every good household should engage in. Electricity went off. That's a reply, Seymour. Jeff said, thought it might be COVID, why the CUC plant is evacuated. No, there's some sort of alarm that has gone off at the plant. As a matter of fact, we can ask, because we've got CUC people right here in our chat. Let's see. Let's see if we can find out. So do I believe, Soka says maybe she's sick and freaky too. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm definitely not swearing for anyone. I don't know why she would be supportive of him. Amy says it doesn't take a special person to take the stand in defense of someone. I kind of think it does take a special person, actually. A real special person to defend someone else like that. I think it takes a very special person. Sorry. I'm just not buying it. So, Natasha, good morning. When you hover over your children, you're accused of being overprotective. Helicopter mom, while I was a spaceship and didn't care who didn't like it, me everywhere with my ankle biters and handbags. Yes, child. Carry them with pride. Yes, I listen, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do, my dear child. I cannot blame you at all. I'm all for it. Trust me when I tell you. Let me see here. I'm just messaging someone at CUC. See if you can find out what's going on. Women defend men who beat them half to death. That's pretty special. Yeah. I get the psychology of it. And I was looking at her thinking to myself, again, I don't know anything about the woman. But even when the prosecution said to her, stop looking at your husband. Why are you testifying? You're telling the truth. Why are you looking at him? Face the jury. Face the judge. It's as though it's as though she was looking for some sort of confirmation from him that she was, saying what she was supposed to be saying or whatever. It was just very bizarre. Gabby says, Sandy, did you see the health ministry in New Zealand is going to ban cigarettes for their next generation? Anyone born after 2008 won't be able to purchase cigarettes. Just thought I'd mention it as I find it interesting. That's a fantastic idea, Gabby. I love it. Good. It's one of the most horrific habits, and I think even smokers will admit to it. And it's also one of the more preventable things when it comes to our health issues that we're facing, everything from secondhand smoke to firsthand smoke. You are guaranteed to have a lot of issues because you are a smoker. And that is a public burden that we all have to share, and it's spread across insurance and so forth when you're a smoker. So, we pay for that, basically, is what that is. So, folks, if you're a member of the Filipino community, can I encourage you to contact Miracle Brokers? You've got a little bit of time left before the next shipment leaves for the Philippines of the boxes. They're $65 per box, so make sure that you get your box today. Pack it up with all your goodies. It'll go on the next ship at the end of the month, straight to the Philippines.
Ang Balikbayan Boxes ay bumalik na sa Miracle Brokers. Ipadala sa iyong mga mahal sa buhay ang espesyal na pakete para sa Pasko o Bagong Taon na puno ng mga damit, laruan at marami pa. Sa halagang $65, ito ay isang deal na hindi mo matatalo. Ito ang huling shipment para sa 2021 at ang deadline ay katapusan ng Disyembre, kaya huwag mag-antala. Makipag-ugnayan sa pamamagitan ng WhatsApp 345-916-0355 upang bilhin ang iyong kahon at magreserba ng espasyo sa barko. Sa pagtatapos ng 2021, gustong pasalamatan ng Miracle Brokers ang lahat sa Filipino community para sa iyong suporta sa mga nakaraang taon. Lubos naming pinapahalagahan ang iyong negosyo. Inaasahan namin ang patuloy na paglilingkod sa iyong komunidad sa 2022 at higit pa.
So I don't think it's anything serious at CUC because my sources don't seem to be aware of anything. So it might just have been an alarm that maybe went off. I'm not sure. So Soka says the cancer industry won't like that. Probably not. Women bring in men around their kids who don't even know them. Yes. So sad. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of, there are a lot of things I think that happen in households that, demonstrate that there's probably some level of dysfunctionality that is happening. Most sad, really. There was this case in the UK. Were you guys following this one where it was the father and stepmother, I think the step parent was the mother, who had been convicted of killing this child. And he was only, oh my God, I think I want to say, this is a recent case. Arthur, was this Arthur? Let me see. Unfortunately, this is, I hate to say it, but it's fairly common that children are being abused and hurt by the people that should be protecting them. So the British government announced a major review in the murder of 6-year-old Arthur Lambinjo Hughes. Stepmother Emma, 32 years old, was jailed for life at Coventry Crown Court on Friday with a minimum term of 29 years after being found guilty of his murder. And his father, Thomas Hughes, who's 29, was sentenced to 21 years for manslaughter. So the father got a lesser sentence, which is interesting. It says that the boy was left with unsurvivable brain injury while in the sore care of the stepmom, and his body was found to be covered in 130 bruises. Believe me, folks, there are some monsters amongst us. Who can do this? And he's such a cute little kid. Poor thing. So this review is to determine what improvements are needed by the agencies that came into contact with the 6-year-old in the months before he was murdered in his home in, where's this, Solihull, England? So he died in June of 2020. But they were supposed to be the Solihull's local child safeguarding partnership after it emerged in court that Arthur had been seen by social workers just 2 months before he was killed. And they concluded that there was no safeguarding concerns. Wow. So they're going to review this to see really what happened and upgrade. It's unfortunate that these things always happen after an innocent life has been lost. They're going to see what went wrong here. How did they miss it? Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Friday that no stone, absolutely no stone, will be left unturned to establish what went wrong. I bet you nobody didn't get fired, though. He said that it was essential to learn lessons and to work out what else could have been done to protect the child. So this was an unbelievable case. I haven't really been digging too deep into it myself, but I've heard about it. And I think the entire UK has been, following this case immensely. And it was just really sad. One of the articles that I did read was saying how that at some point he was, I can't remember where he was. He was somewhere. And he actually said that no one loved him. And I thought, if you hear a 5 or 6-year-old saying that, you might want to see why that poor child is saying that. And then, of course, he ended up dying. So he said nobody loved him. Poor little thing. Who knows what his future could have been like, right? Unbelievable. So apparently he was born into a crazy situation. His mother, is who he lived with most of his life. And then she and his father split up just before his 2nd birthday. And they continued to share custody. And then in February 2019, she was arrested on suspicion of murdering her new partner, Gary Cunningham. And at trial, it emerged that it had been an abusive relationship. And so she was convicted of manslaughter. So poor kid. And then after she was arrested, the father assumed full custody of him. And for just over a year, lived in the Hughes family. So in March of 2020, he moved in with his new girlfriend, Emma, just as the UK went into lockdown. And they know that, I guess, this new girlfriend didn't like the son very much because she made it clear that she did not want him in her house. Listen to this. He was removed from the bedroom he once shared with her own children and made to sleep on the floor in the living room. And as a father, you would be with a woman who is treating your child like this? He was isolated from the rest of the family and routinely made to stand alone in the hallway for up to 14 hours a day, with further punishments if he dared to try and sit down. Standing up, a little 5-6-year-old having to stand up for 14 hours a day. I don't even think adults could do that. He was regularly beaten, starved, and deprived of water. So apparently the two of them were home alone on June the 16th when she assaulted him and he passed away from those injuries. She's never given an account of what she did to inflict his final fatal brain injury that afternoon. However, experts say it was consistent with having been shaken and his head repeatedly slammed either into the wall or the floor. And then the questions become, why is it that no one intervened? So in April, the authorities became aware of him. Social workers and police had visited him at home. His grandmother, had raised concerns about deep bruises on his back. However, during the visit, the couple said that the bruises were down to him playing and being a boisterous little boy, an account that apparently was accepted without question. When school reopened after the lockdown, Hughes made excuses for why he couldn't go and lied about his son playing cricket in the garden when teachers called during lockdown. They cut off Arthur from his extended family. So that's a key of something being very wrong. He hadn't seen his maternal grandmother since 2019. And even his own family, the father's family, was not having any contact with him. So at trial, this woman admitted to one count of child cruelty on the first day of her trial, relating to forcing him to stand for hours on end in the hallway, and on a second count on the final day relating to assaulting him. So she was found guilty, as well as the murder. She was found guilty of 2 further counts of cruelty by way of poisoning Arthur with salt and withholding food and drink. The father maintained his innocence on all charges throughout the trial, and jurors found him guilty of manslaughter rather than murder, but convicted him of 2 cruelty charges relating to assault and intimidation. Unbelievable. Let me just say this in closing, folks. If you do not, protect your children in a community, I've always said this, I think communities are judged by the people they're unable to protect. So if you're not unable to protect the most innocent people in your community, which include your children, if you're unable to protect your elderly, a lot of them are defenseless, and animals, there is really something wrong with your society. And I think so many countries and societies fail at protecting children at so many different levels. And that is why it's not a matter of rejoicing, but I am glad and I'm happy with every guilty conviction of someone like this, like Freddie. Remove him from his own children, because I do think he poses a danger to them. It's only a question of when, really. And we also need to look at the causes of why is Freddie the way that he is? How did this happen? It's easy to lock him up, and he should be locked up, believe me you. But the question also becomes, is there something that happened to Freddie? Is there something that we could be doing to ensure that we're not creating more Freddies of the world? That's the question, really. Prevention. We only have so much jail space. And I think that as parents, all of us have to be more vigilant with our children. As Natasha said, people might accuse you of being a helicopter parent, but that would be the least of my worries. So Miss Sue says, yes, monsters are worse, and the social workers did nothing, and they took 2 of her kids from her. Really, really horrible. Soka says, you should be a prosecutor, Sandra. Well, back in the day, Soka, when I saw myself in the profession, that was from day one, the type of attorney I wanted to be was a prosecutor. I could never see myself being a defense attorney. Although I know they have their space, and there's a lot of them that I do respect, but I just couldn't do that job. And then when you come to Cayman, it's a lot different even than in the US. So you find you kind of get drawn into the world of corporate, and that's where I had been working. And then, not doing that at all, but it doesn't mean that you can't be an advocate, I think, for these issues. Natasha says, zero respect for men and women who allow a step parent or girlfriend or boyfriend to ill-treat their children. That's a coward. Absolutely. So Soka says, seen the flag in the back of you with the white disc. Do you know that was removed from the British territory's flag since 1999? Cayman is the only territory that still uses it. The coat of arms was enlarged when it was removed, and I like the new design much better. Oh, I did not know. That's on a computer screen, obviously. So I've got the other flag, which I think because of the way of the camera angle, you actually don't get to see that one quite as much. Like the full flag is actually hanging on the wall. Very horrific, folks. We will continue to, update you guys on these cases. I think it is important for us to sometimes delve a little bit deeper. Next week, of course, Monday show will be Monday Rewind. I got quite a few errands today. I was making my list, John. It's quite a long list because I was in court most of the week. There's some things that got neglected. So I need to go buy some Christmas lights to donate. I need to go sort out some bicycles for donation as well. We're giving somebody else was supposed to do it, a politician, but I know how these politicians get so busy. They've been in Parliament and whatever. So I said, you know what? We don't have to always put the burden on politicians to do every single thing. Sometimes we can step up. So my community donation and I want you guys to tell me on Monday, we can talk about it. Every year, I think you need to give to people less fortunate during this time of year, during the season. And so we are going to be giving out, I think I can budget to do at least 2 bicycles because this is my own personal money. So I got a budget because I'm on a path of financial freedom, really focusing on paying off mortgages and any sort of debt. So I told you guys the other day, I think that I paid off, hold on a second, somebody's messaging me. Yes, so, I'm on a path of trying to go into my 50s being as financially free as possible. So I'm on a strict budget these days. But I do want to, to give for Christmas, to give to people less fortunate. So there's some children who are in need of bicycles. So I am going to donate, I think I can do 2 bicycles. I know this time of year, all that stuff sells really quickly. So I think I'm going to go today and try to secure the bicycles. And then we have Popeyes and Burger King gift certificates we'll be giving out too. I feel like I should put on my Santa hat. So, yes, Soka, no more of that depressing stuff this morning. So, folks, 'tis the season. We are getting there. Today is the 10th of the month, so it's like a little bit over 2 weeks. Folks, if you are a home gas client, top up early. Go check the gauge right now and see if you got to top up. Call them early. Don't wait until the day before Christmas and try to get all the emergency orders in. I think we just topped up last week or 2. So I think I'm good. But my husband, he's very good with remembering these sorts of things, especially if I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking, chow. He's like, let's make sure we have enough gas because we're not using gas just for cooking. We use it for laundry. The dryer's a gas dryer. We use it for the stove. We use it for the tankless water heater. So make sure you've got enough to carry you through the holiday season. That's very, very important. And so I've got a bunch of stuff. I've got some car registration things that need to get sorted out today as well. So on to a number of errands. I wish you guys a beautiful day again. I will keep Freddie's family in my prayers because, I looked at this photo of his family and these little kids. And here he looks like such a normal person. And there's his wife and their kids. And the little baby girl might tweet him. I feel sorry for his wife and I feel sorry for her children and, but you've got to be strong. I hope that she will be strong during this very challenging time and know that maybe you need to reevaluate, how you see your husband and what he has now been convicted of. So thank you, Miss Anne. I think that we all have to give. All of us are different in our financial position. Some people have more than others, but I think you always have more than somebody else. No matter how poor you are, There's somebody out there somewhere in the world, and even in Cayman, who has it worse than you. And so any little thing you can do to help other people, I think you should do. Sometimes it might not be that you can go out and buy something. You can make something. Or you can give of your time. Time is valuable. You know, donate your time to Meals on Wheels. Go sit with seniors in the seniors' home. Oh, maybe not right now because of COVID, but, you know, volunteer at the Humane Society. Walk a dog. Spend time with a family member who's elderly. Maybe they live at home or they don't have as many people around them, like good company. Yes, there's always something you can give. Doesn't have to be anything big, expensive, super, whatever. Just your time. Just a phone call. Call somebody you haven't spoken to in a while, like a senior, and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. Is everything okay? Are you doing okay? That's it. That's all it takes. Larry, have a good weekend. Anne, have a good weekend. Marshall, Odette, thank you all. Soka, everybody who tuned in today, I wish you a fabulous weekend. Please, I'm begging y'all this weekend, let's not have any deaths on the roadway. Let's be careful, right? Big shout out to Recover. There are
accidents happen at any time, when you least expect it. Be prepared. Reach out to Recover Personal Injury Attorneys. We don't get paid until you recover.
Yes, folks. So Recover Personal Injury Attorneys, give them a call. Folks, if you've had an accident and you have been hurt, trust me when I tell you, you definitely want to get them on your side. Next week, Monday Rewind, we can talk about my case. The judgment finally came down yesterday. It was published yesterday afternoon. We did a story on it. I'll break it down a little bit. It is pretty straightforward as far as I'm concerned, but we'll break it down a little bit to make sure that everybody's up to par on that. So yes, have a safe and beautiful and wonderful weekend, folks. And we'll see you guys on Monday morning, God's willing, 7:30. And just keep it tuned in for another Monday Rewind episode.
Time for Monday Rewind. The Cold Hard Truth's Monday Rewind show recaps the weekend's news and events so you don't miss a beat.
Don't miss out.
All the weekend's source, news, gossip, and well, it wouldn't be a weekend recap show without traffic accidents too. Cayman Marl Road is Cayman's #1 news source and has the island's hottest morning talk show.
It's the hottest.
Make sure you don't miss a beat with Monday Rewind. Tune in every Monday from 7:30 a.m. on both YouTube and Facebook.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.